Atlanta, live from K.L.P Studios. Shish. Ever wonder what went down behind the scenes of our top stories?
Say what?
Then tune into What Had Happened Was, the only radio station that takes you straight to the source. From coast to coast, tune in now as we dive deep into the stories, the drama, and the moments that shape the culture with
The Swanky One, new K.L.P.
and
with your girl, Evelyn Letitia.
live, Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 radio stations, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
We
You
doing the
sure it
music bed?
worked? Yeah,
Yeah.
the music bed, yeah.
Yeah. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I know, y'all. It's been a minute. I know. Hey,
Ow!
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back.
Welcome back.
What happened was we back.
WHHW.
Yeah. Hey.
It's your girl, Evelyn Letitia.
What had happened was,
Y'all
Yeah.
know what time it is.
With your boy,
what
K.L.P.
had happened was,
Hey.
What had happened was podcast.
what had happened was,
What?
what had happened was,
Yeah, buddy. All right. I know.
I'm glad they're excited about us being back. We was off on like spring
We were
break.
we
you
were
know?
off, right? Because a lot of people, believe it or not,
Yeah.
a lot of people like, hey, what a podcast at?
Look, y'all can't go on vacation, enjoy y'all spring break, and act like we can't.
Yeah, spring break we were on. Part of it with vacation, but a part of it we were filming with our own films and
Yeah.
shows and our own thing we got going on. And you know, when we both kind of in the Hollywood area, you kind of have to schedule some things out. But
Yeah. But
we're back to
what had happened
what
was,
happened was
podcast. I'm your gracious, highly favored, humble, healthy, great spirit
okay.
podcast host Kennedy Lucas for What Happened Was.
Yeah. Almost hit crickets.
Yeah, you about to hit the cricket
I
button.
think
And to my right, sundress on,
Child.
summertime is here, back from
Bounce
spring
that.
break. You know, getting ready for it. She's been in doing a lot of filming now.
Oh man.
A lot of premieres coming up and a lot of projects coming up for Miss Evelyn Letitia.
Yes.
That's to my right. Evelyn Letitia's here. Yeah, buddy. Evelyn, it's good to be back.
It's good to, I'm glad to be here, baby.
It's been a little bit too long, but you know, we back. We back here in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what we like to do before we talk about the topics of conversation
Before we
here,
get into it.
Before we get into it.
Yeah.
How are you? What's going on?
Well, let me tell you.
what had happened was,
I have been like all over the place. So first of all, film that I did last year called Bloodlines. We had our premiere April 26th.
That's all right. Long week.
Out in Charlotte at the Ardsley Media Cinemas, and it was fantastic. We sold out the theater. Baby, you know, I've been to some premieres and you see some empty seats, you may get something. We sold out a whole theater, and so much so that we have added a second premiere date for the same movie that will be May 17th in Charlotte again, and I will be at that one as well.
Hey, shout out.
It just it does something to see people come out and just support, especially independent film, and not only seeing myself on screen, but my niecey Pooh, who she played my infant daughter in the film, to see her little face up there.
Aw.
Yeah. Oh. She was about 6 months when we shot it, and now she'll be 2 in this December, but
Oh,
she was
wow.
about 6 months when we shot that film. And I was just like, oh, look at my baby. And then her baby pictures throughout the film sometimes. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm glad that we were able to add a second date because she couldn't come to the premiere. She got sick. Her mom called. Like, oh, she's sick. We ain't going to be able to travel.
Oh, man, that sucks.
But now, my baby get to come on the May 17th day.
Hey,
so excited about
shout
that.
out, shout out.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is when people are working together, different, independent screen makers. Another film that I had done, it was formerly called The Queen's Tale, but now it's called Born Again Baddie. I saw the director and writer Fred Forte at that one as well. And so while we're watching, trailers before Bloodline started, there was a few trailers. One of the trailers is for Born Again Baddie, which I'm in.
Oh, that's lit.
And it was a newer trailer that he put up, so I hadn't even seen the trailer.
Oh,
like the one that's
exciting.
on my social media that posted like some weeks back was like a teaser. So this was like the official first trailer, and I'm getting to see with everybody else. That was exciting.
That's
I was
very
like,
exciting.
oh my god,
Me on the screen, that new trailer coming.
Man, then you see your little name. It's all the end credits is always what gets me because growing up, when I think about traumatic experiences, times when I was so sad and depressed as a child, the one thing that kind of kept me boosted was entertainment, whether it was cartoons, movies, writing, imagination, all that always kept me lifted. And now when I see end credits and I see my name in the end credits,
wow.
Evan Letitia, that is a full circle moment, and I feel so blessed. It's just and we're gonna be releasing the Born Again Baddie. That premiere will be coming up in June. I'm gonna stay tuned. I'm gonna give y'all the details.
Y'all. Stay tuned.
Look, back up. I'm gonna give y'all the details.
Yeah.
And then of course A Rose Through Cancer that I just filmed a couple months ago. We're supposed to be doing that premiere down in October. So again, I'll keep y'all, up to date with all that. But things been happening.
Evelyn, that's Hollywood right there.
Man,
like she got a lot of dope stuff cooking.
There's days I don't feel like this is real.
Yeah.
Things just seem so surreal. Like
I think I know that feeling.
Yeah, like but you like, it's me. It's not a confidence thing. I don't want people to misconstrue that. It's not a confidence thing. I'm a very confident person. But I think sometimes a little bit of imposter syndrome tries to creep its head in because, where I came from growing up, in a small hometown, there wasn't like theater programs like that really. There wasn't like acting classes. So this is a whole second career and a second, life journey for me. But for it to be happening, it's always like I'm watching it outside of my body.
I see.
It's like I'm seeing it happening, but I'm standing to the side and I'm like, this is really my life. This is really happening.
Yeah.
But the grind don't stop.
Grind don't
Can't
stop.
stop, won't stop. But that's what I've been up to.
I love it.
So you tell us what had happened was in your life.
Oh
What
boy,
been going on?
howdy! But this phone's supposed to be on silent.
Look,
and
I
thought I did. You said it multiple times.
Multiple times I said, just make sure our phone's on.
ESPN be like, hey, my bad, y'all. What happened was, still podcasting, all the other shows we got going on. Been doing a lot of community service events.
Okay.
So a lot of people know that we work in healthcare. Both of us do actually. So our healthcare company did a Healthy Kids Day. So K.L.P Entertainment was there to film the scenes and put that package together, and a lot of people loved it. And then one of the hosts there, she's gonna post it on their celebrity post. When it comes down to, it's like Celebrity This Week. I think that's her page. She posts it there, and then celebrities and other entrepreneurs and other healthcare providers and experts, they would see the video, and we were talking to a whole bunch of doctors now about what's to come next, and hey, we need Kennedy come film this next thing that's coming. Music's going really well. I wanted to announce on this show, I announced it on the last episode that I did on the other show, but in July, we're filming a documentary about Miami, and me and my group, Swanky we coming back with a new album for this documentary. So I'm writing some new music.
So y'all going to Miami too?
We're going to Miami. The first week I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. So the first week we're filming, and then the second week is just kind of wrapping up and then actually enjoying Miami. It's kind of like a vacation part number 2. So we've got that cooking. new animated two new animated
All I
movies.
want to know is with the Miami thing. Just
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
let me know when I need to come bring my sleeping bag. Like
Hey.
what room I'm gonna be in. I'm trying to slide down there with y'all to
we
vacation.
might have a budget for that too. You know, hey, more the merrier.
We
can
gonna
both
talk off camera.
Yeah.
Y'all hearing this?
Yeah, we definitely would, because I'm always looking for people to help me film and then to enjoy vacation too, obviously.
You know, I'm in my producing bag.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do more producing.
Yeah.
So you want me to produce it? Like, hey,
I ain't gonna turn that down.
let
Not
me
gonna turn that down.
trying to get my little credits.
Get the credits up.
And someone reached out to me,
Yeah.
you know, to possibly do some producing for the next project. Somebody I've already recently worked with on the acting side.
Yeah.
They see how I, you know, manage certain things behind the scenes and like,
Yeah.
I want you to do this,
I
that.
think I love producing more than because a lot of people don't know I'm not as amazing as you in acting, but I'm kind of an acting.
You be boosting my head.
I mean, I'm a voice actor, so that counts. But
it does.
I think I love the producing side of it more, because I'm producing a new animated movie. It's called Underground.
Okay.
Excuse me, Undercover. Ooh, Undercover. Sorry, Grant. That's Grant Apollo's film. It's Undercover. It's a buddy cop type of movie, and I'm just producing that one.
Okay.
And then the next one, the Lucas Brothers Pictures. It's a story that I wrote, because my middle name is Lucas, and it's about my two fake brothers. I mean, I do have two brothers, but two fake brothers, Kendall and Keenan Lucas. They're not real brothers. They are studio heads, and then I'm playing myself in this movie and helping my two little brothers survive the studio, being from debt for the studio in the story. So it's a really cool story, but I think I like the producing side more, where I'm filming, putting it together, and kind of being behind the scenes of stuff. And we really got to talk, because shout out to Tony Stewart. That's shout out Tony. That is my mom's fiance now. We're making another documentary about sickle cell awareness in September. So again, me filming it, directing it, producing it, but you know, it's gonna be that one's gonna be good. So that's what I got going on, really. Fitness is going really well. Gym, staying in the gym, you know. That's all I got going on. Lucas Tribune is going really well. So things are going well.
Well, I think
birthday month.
Deserves, you know, a hand clap, you know. And birthday month.
Birthday month. 12 days or 11 now.
So you gotta tell us, what do you have on the horizon for birthday celebration?
I tell everybody this though.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, because I am so blessed to see 29.
I remember 29. I remember it.
You remember it?
Remember
like it was yesterday?
Yeah.
But I don't.
A time was had.
Time was had? See, I would have loved to met you at 29, maybe younger,
like,
to see how that world
NDA.
was. See what that was about. Again, blessed to see 29. But I don't make it a spectacle on birthdays nowadays. And I don't know, maybe because I'm getting a little bit older, and it's just like, I'm, again, blessed to see 29, blessed for my birthday, but it's like I don't make a whole big thing about it, you know? But I do know I probably will go out to a fancy lunch with my family members, because that next week, my friends to who I'm going to Punta Cana with in June, we're doing a big birthday dinner at PF Chang's, because my friend David, shout out to you, David, his birthday is also in May. So we're kind of bringing those two birthdays together. And then we'll talk more about the trip in that next month. But I know maybe something fancy for lunch. And then I do like shopping. See, let you know that I'm a little frugal too, because I don't want to buy like a whole bunch of stuff or an expensive thing for my birthday nowadays. But I think I might just go to the mall and get me new pairs of shoes, because I've been trying to beef up my shoe game a little bit, you know, and just like a light lunch, something, you know, light but special, and have my siblings there and just call it a day, really.
Well, you know, and I always ask this question, because with each birthday I have, whether I choose to celebrate with people or be in my private somewhere secluded, where the NDAs need to be, either way, I always try to go into it, you know, asking certain questions of myself, like, what did the current year that I'm in, what did it teach me, you know, about myself, about life, and then what am I looking forward to with the next incoming year that I'm going to be spending. So what have you learned, life lessons, or just about yourself in general at 28, and then what are you looking forward to or perceive going into 29?
Yeah. So I would say one thing I learned at age 28 is, and I think it's so interesting because I said this to GGC students when I spoke to them a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
The anticipation of failing. 28 was this year alone, the last year alone was hard, right? Because I've been a part of some stuff. I've been part of some organizations that unfortunately they didn't work out, and I'm no longer in that organization anymore. And I had to pivot and do something that I didn't really want to do, but I had to pivot. And then it just kind of brought me to a better light because now I'm stress free and I'm able to sleep well at night and to work, but then also have that freedom to do whatever I need to do and do whatever I want to do. So I think learning how to do that at 29 and just accepting that it's okay to fail at something, or if something didn't go quite that way, it's okay, right? You can pivot, and also understanding that God, because I'm very spiritual too, God does things and puts you in certain situations because he has a better plan for you, right? And at that time, I didn't get it. I'm like, dang, like I'm failing, why, but after all of that and pivoting and changing up and then now working a little bit more with the family company and filming more, being a little bit more happier now, right? That's God's blessing, right? Yeah. So it is amazing. Giving back a little bit more community wise, speaking. GGC invited me to speak to students and I'm like, me, like, I'm pretty dope, but like
I'm him.
But me. So just giving back a little bit more. And even when we filmed at the Healthy Kids Day in South Fulton, I understand that there's a lot of kids that we educate on health, and then different family dynamics are a little bit different than mine, right? So I'm not saying that they're in the gutter. That's not what I'm saying, audience. But like, you can tell that they're going through some stuff, and it's like you can only educate and pray, right? You can only do so much to make them feel like that there's a greater light at the end of this tunnel. Like it does get better, right? A lot of parents who were very thankful for this because it was on Saturday and get the kids outside the house and have a great time. And there's this one table, they had boxes upon boxes of Huggies diapers, and it's like, those are very expensive for, especially if you got a new kid, a newborn. Those are very expensive to buy.
And the jokers be going through some diapers.
They go through it like it's candy.
Put something in their mouth and it's coming out the back end before you can sit them down. I'm like, what the heck?
So I'm learning that now to just kind of give back a little bit, and because I gotta say again, it's not a flex, but it's just blessed that we're a little bit more. We're in a different world now. We're a little bit more fortunate to do certain things. So I want to give that back to people who, unfortunately, at this moment, because of economics and financials, they may not have the opportunity yet, right? So I just kind of want to continue doing that at age 29.
Well, I'm going to tell you this because, we got a little age gap. So I see you as not only a grown man, but also like as a little brother, right? So I want to say to you personally that I am super proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Even when you think it's not enough or that it's not seen or, I'm proud of you. No one else says that to you. I'm proud of the things that you're doing, just to be able to meet you, and we have a vision of what we want to do, and we jump right on it, and here we are. We'll be coming up on a year of doing this podcast. It's been like moving. And there's two things that you said that I want to expound on. You said that you felt like you were failing, and I want to say even when we have that feeling, sometimes the silver lining and the optimism and feeling like you're failing, that feeling sometimes is actually you succeeding. Because, it's kind of that old thing where someone said, oh, well, these doors kept being closed in my face, right? Well, those doors closing made way for other doors to open. And you never know what you failing at or a door closing is protecting you from. So that's the optimism in that. Even though you felt like you were failing, you were probably succeeding in something. And then the other word you said that stood out was pivot. People underestimate pivot. Sometimes people think that, because you had a plan B or you had to change course, it was a bad thing because you failed at plan A. I think pivoting is one of the greatest superpowers you can have. Because when you think about it, some of us, we will sit down and plan out our life for the next 5-10 years. We got it down to, okay, I want to be married by this time. I want to have kids, but I want my career to look like this. I want to have this house. You got it so planned out. And that's a great thing in itself. But to have something so planned out and then life does what it does, it throws you curveballs, things don't work out, and you have the ability to say, you know what, I might stumble, but I'm not going to completely fall. I'm going to pivot. That is a superpower. Because everybody doesn't do that. Like, some people, that curveball hits, they crumble. And they may never work them way back to a standing position. So to be able to pivot, that is a highly, highly superpower that I wish people would honor that more than themselves. You having to change course, there's nothing wrong with that. Baby, right now, at 37, I'm supposed to be married with at least 3 kids and had been married for like 10 or 15 years. Like, there was a whole life plan. And entertainment was something I aspired to when I was a kid, but living in it currently, I never thought I'd be doing all of this, So, like, there was a pivot. I got divorced in 2015. There was a pivot. And that pivot has been one of the greatest blessings for my life. Even when life is still throwing curveballs. So that, like, you see certain things that happen, you're like, oh, I hate that happened. And you're apologetic because we had some malfunction with some of our equipment the other week. And we lost an episode or two. And he was so apologetic. He was like, oh, I feel so horrible. And I'm like, it's cool. It's cool. Like, I mean, life happens, and I'm pretty sure on your end, you were like, well, how's she so calm and cool, collected?
I was like that, like, because
the way he was apologizing, I knew you thought, oh, she gonna curse me out. She about to go, and that's not even me. First of all, if I ever curse you out, baby, you had it coming. Yeah. And it takes a lot to push my button. So if you push a button that calls me to curse you out, baby, you down to my toes. You don't reach too deep and hit that button. But no, I was just like, no, it's cool. Life happens, We're full of experiences. Life gonna keep going. There'll be more stories to cover. We don't even have to backtrack. And maybe just wasn't meant for those 2 stories to go, those 2 episodes to go out. But we got greater stuff coming up. But that's why, because I've had so much negative stuff in this lifetime that I choose, and it's a choice. Because you get up and things happen, you can choose to look at it from a negative standpoint, or you can choose to look at it from the positive standpoint. Even when the positive standpoint doesn't look realistic to everybody around you, it's still a better energy that I tend to want to feed into versus the negative. Because typically what happens when you feed into the negative, you get more and more negative, and your vision to seeing where a solution can happen is your vision is getting more and more cloudy because you're going more and more negative. Whereas you dive more into the positive and feeding that, it's almost like this light just keeps shining brighter and brighter in your vision. You can see better and better. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, we can do this. We can pivot. We can, So I just want to, everybody out there, please don't underestimate the power of you being able to pivot. It is a superpower, and don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let family and friends tell you that, oh, you failed. You should have been doing this and that. Get all that out the way. Pivot. If it takes you pivoting all your life to get to where you need to be, continue to pivot.
Yep. Amen. Hey, hold on. She cooked.
Yeah.
She cooked.
Let her cook.
She cooked. Oh, I've been seeing that too. Everybody's like,
let her cook.
Dun, 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 dun.
Big
let her cook.
Come through. Let her cook.
Oh, I love that. I work out to that song too. I do.
Shut up, Big Glow.
Yeah, I know. Big Glow.
So what we got? What
happened was,
speaking of pivoting. They got my boy. They got Uncle. They got Uncle Shannon Sharp, man. Let me tell y'all, this is a.
What had happened was.
Look, I'm sad. Now, if you
blow a bubble, Royal Rumble, Shannon in trouble.
Yes.
Lakers lost in 5.
Yeah. So Shannon Sharp, if you guys have been living under a rock, Shannon Sharp is in a whole heap of mess when it comes down to allegations and. Allegations and a whole bunch of things going on with the allegations of him being, and these are allegations because I keep saying allegations because I don't want people to think that allegedly of sexual harassment, aggressiveness, some dealings with an OnlyFans girl out there in the world, again, allegedly. And here's the part that it kind of makes me sad because I read articles, and I've been reading articles since this thing broke out, that the first article that I read was the allegations of this OnlyFans young lady. We saw that first. And then I saw Stephen A. Smith's response on his podcast. Stephen A. Smith was, I can tell that he was a little bit sad about this too, because he pulled Shannon Sharpe into ESPN.
Yeah.
And, that was just kind of a moment for Shannon to glow up and to really be something great. Not defaming his name, but like when Shannon Sharpe came to ESPN from Unfiltered with Skip Bayless, that was a change moment, right? Because obviously Shannon is really talented, but Skip Bayless didn't really see the full potential of Shannon. So now Shannon had to go to a different network. And since he started on ESPN, Shannon's been taken off with Stephen A. on First Take, with Club Shay Shay, even though that's not really affiliate with ESPN, but you had Club Shay Shay with celebrity interviews reaching millions of views. I think the highest one is still the Cat Williams one. Yeah. But like Club Shay Shay and Shannon put the show and Shannon on the map, right? Glowing up. He's a viral sensation, internet sensation, sportscaster. Allegations come out, right? And that's why I can tell that Stephen A. was a little bit very sad about this. Stephen A. did say, when allegations are like this out there in the medium, because now that ESPN is owned by Disney does not play that mess.
Which is always ironic that Disney be ready to cut ties with people, but they have the most allegations of
that is true
child, abuse and all kinds of stuff in the background of their company.
That is true.
Racism, bigotry, prejudice, pedophilia. So much in the background, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But yeah, they would cut ties quick.
Super quick. Very, very sad about that. And Disney don't play, right? So then when I saw Stephen A. Smith's segment on his podcast, I was like, Evelyn told you, Shannon about to get cut. Because even though it's alleged, I don't think he did it.
And Shannon said that, he was taking a step back, that he would be back for football season. The thing I have with Stephen A. was one of the first people to come out and do commentary on it. Yeah. Right? And immediately when I saw his first commentary, you can tell, like, he was trying to distance himself without saying I'm distancing myself. But then to come back later tomorrow, I got my boy Shannon's back, and like he's supportive of him. I'm like, if you really supportive of him, you should have held your commentary until more stuff came out. Yeah. Like, so now it's like I feel conflicted when Stephen A. Smith speaks most time anyway. I know that's your boy, but I feel conflicted.
I got plenty of boys. Pat McAfee,
because he jumped out the gate, basically all but saying, "Hey, that's Shannon. That ain't me. Like, I'm still gonna be here. We don't know what his future look like." It's almost like he was, like I said, distancing himself without fully coming out and saying that's what he was doing. And then to come back later and like, we need to support our brother. We need to do the support would have been keep your mouth closed till you had to say something. Yep.
Man, that's true. That's true. And let's call a spade too. When people say, "Oh, we need to support our boy," but then if my job's on the line, you on your own. Right? Come on.
And then it's kind of like, you want to support Shannon when you had multiple people. I'm talking Carlos Miller. I'm talking Cat Williams. I'm talking Monique. Multiple people told him prior to all this happening, you need to leave them young girls alone. And not even trying to make it, a black-white thing, because you date who you want to date. But there's a history of young white women and older black men or black men in general with the quote-unquote takedown. Leave the young white women alone, leave white women alone. Like, there was people who was telling him these things. So now that all this is coming out, you can be hard-pressed to find certain people, especially in the black community, to be like, oh my gosh, Shannon, I can't believe this happened. And it doesn't help when Shannon is also in the podcast and media where you can play back things he said, right? Like, even with this, things that we say, if you say something contrary to what we said today, somebody can, hold on, but on the other episode you said this. So it's kind of like, it's kind of hard to feel sorry for Shannon when on Nightcap there was an episode with him and Ocho was talking, and Ocho was telling him to date women in his age, and he was very bold, like, I date my wage. I don't date people by age. I date my wage. right? Now you got to pay out some money.
Yeah, pay out that money.
Because, you want a date in your wage, and you shouldn't have no problems paying out the money that your wage can cover.
Yeah.
The only problem is now where people were saying that this young girl this is a money grab and all this kind of stuff. Now there's been other allegations of women coming forward.
Yeah.
So it's like...
it's like a domino effect.
It's
like
a domino effect. And of course, Dr. Umar had something to say.
Oh.
Because, he's... Dr. Umar always talking about, stay away from the snow bunnies and all this kind of stuff. But he did make a point to say this, though. When the young lady first came out and asked for a settlement agreement, she wanted $50,000. Right? Shannon offered up $10 million, to which she turned down. She wanted $50,000.
Yeah.
He offered her $10 million, and she turned down $10 million, and she wanted $50,000 originally. So the point he was trying to make is she ain't pulling the strings behind this. Somebody is with her saying, "No, you need it. You $50,000. No, we gonna get more than that."
Yeah.
So it's a big mess, and for all the sayings that Shannon always talk about, my grandma said this, my grandma said that. Grandma ain't told you about leaving these young white girls alone.
Hey, look, both my grandmas got arrested, so they told me, like, now, sweet pie, let me tell you a little something now.
Like,
like, even I got the hint. Yeah.
It's successful men, black men, if you want to say that. I'm speaking for a place of, because he's black like me, right? That you would put your entire career and everything you've worked so hard for. You are in the NFL Hall of Fame. All these accolades are now going to be deduced to this thing that's going on. And Cat Williams said it best. He said, you could be on top today, and in 2 weekends they can make you crumble. Bring it all down. Yep. And that's exactly what you're saying. And like Shannon, I'm like in my tired voice, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
I was rooting for Shannon too, because it makes me upset because, as a up and coming philanthropist, I'm trying to get there, but just being in the media and owning like Club Shay Shay, it's more to me. It was more than just a podcast. It was a whole media conglomerate.
Yeah, and it showed a great.
You destroyed all of that, and it's like for us having our own media conglomerates, that's just like dang. And we're all black owned media conglomerates. We're like dang, like. Shannon Sharp is going down. At one point, we talked about P. Diddy. P. Diddy owned Revolt. Now, if I own Revolt, the media company, oh boy, howdy, I would not screw that up because there's money made there.
I think that's the hard part about all of this is it's not to say that you're not going to make mistakes, right?
Right.
But from our historical standpoint, we know that we've had to been 10 times as better than our white counterparts. Yeah. So you're building successful platforms and building legacy, and to get it tore down for what? For what? For some young girl?
For some poontang, what my dad used to say.
And that's the part that blows me, because some people will argue, age ain't nobody know. She's legal, barely. She was 19, barely legal. Yeah. Legal or not.
I don't know.
The infatuation with being that old and wanting somebody that young. It'd be different if he was 56 and she was like 29 or 28. You talking about somebody who was 19, right out of high school, like a year from high school.
Don't know how to pay bills yet.
And I'm just like...
Or maybe.
I mean, I'm 37 and I can't even picture myself wanting to be with some 19-year-old.
I was going to get ready to say, I'm 20, about to turn 29, and I don't go for a 19-year-old.
That's just I like to each their own, but I'm like... Bruh. Yeah. And Shannon has kids. He has daughters.
Yeah, probably the same age.
I think they're older.
Oh, older? Okay.
That's crazy too.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I've had family members who've dated people who are younger than their daughters, and I'm like, that ain't feel weird to you. Like, they don't feel weird to you.
You sure?
I just can't. Sure about like, that? Because Shannon's first mistake is he didn't call me. Because let me tell you something, Shannon. Had you called me, you could have been paying all my bills and stuff. Ain't nobody on this earth or the next universe would have known we was together. We'd have been creep. Ain't nobody would have known. They'd be like, damn, Evelyn, you taking a whole lot more trips lately. And it is mind your business. God is blessing me. Nobody would have known that me and Shannon Sharp. And then he's 56. I'm 37. Baby, it's a whole lot closer in age. Mm-hmm. I ain't out here running around telling people my business. If he would have cut it out, okay, just go ahead and pay this last little bill like you've been paying. Dish me out. shoot, she don't offer me 10 million. I'm like, okay, bet, it's over. Give my 10 million. Make sure the check clear. Like,
and you know it does too.
Y'all want to mess with people who don't take into account what both of you had. And I remember at one point, I wasn't dating this gentleman. Like, he's older, but it's like maybe a 10-year difference, if that. I don't think it was that old. But the one thing we always discuss, because he's a businessman too, you don't mess with people who don't have as much to lose as you. That was Shannon's first mistake. You got all these platform stuff you're building. This young lady, she has her OnlyFans, but outside of that, she ain't got no brand deals, and she ain't got her own, what he had, cognac and all this kind of stuff. She don't have as much to lose as you. So one, you're already dating down to where she can pull your entire empire down. When you deal with somebody on your level above, right? It gives a sense of like, okay, this is not somebody I'm gonna screw around with or mess up because I got just as much to lose. Yeah. And baby, I'm still not over the. I can't even picture myself being with somebody 19. I just can't. I can't. And I don't care how, from a standpoint of a woman to a man, I don't care how much of those young boys, they still get rock hard stuff. They even thought of that. I'm just like, ugh.
That just kind of,
because I know men in my age range and older who still do too, because they take care of themselves. Yeah. Most people don't talk about that. Yes, as we get older, men and women, our bodies and hormones start to change. But how you feed your body has a lot to do with what you're able to continue to do sexually too. Yeah,
that is so true.
Like,
that is so true.
Dang.
Especially a lot of my dudes that work out too. You work out hard.
A couple years ago, what was this? 2025. So 2023, I went on a date with this young lady, and I met her on Facebook dating. Oh. I've been off there for a few years because Facebook dating is ratchet. I don't care what y'all say.
It is though. All the dating apps.
I've met some nice people on there, right? But for the most part, it's just people looking for hookups, and that ain't what I'm about. I'm like, no, I'm cool. But I met this young lady. We ended up going out. We were down here in Atlanta, and I was 34 at the time. I think 30. What am I having? Yeah, about 34, 35, something like that. She was 29, as per her profile. That's what her profile said. Yeah. We were down here in Georgia, Atlanta, because she's from down here. We went to this axe throwing place that was also like a bar, like a brewery. Yeah. So we throwing axe, and then it had like beer pong, but it wasn't beer pong, it was water, but it was like a big beer pong table. Yeah. They had the huge Connect 4 thing. So we having fun. We playing games.
That is a lit time.
There is flirting going on. Like, you can't beat me. I'm going to beat you. And then we've now been on this date for maybe an hour and a half. Yeah. And I say, all right, youngin', you can't hang with me, whatever, right? Right. And I end up saying, well, you ain't gonna be too young, so you will join us in the Dirty 30 Club soon.
Next year.
And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, cause you gonna join the Dirty. She said, what's the Dirty 30 Club? And I said, because you about to, be 30. And she said, oh, about that. And when she said that, all I heard was in my head, because I was like, what the hell? What is she about to say? Because she said, oh, about that. And immediately something in my brain just... She said, my profile had my wrong age on there.
How that happened?
Now this I believe, because sometimes, I don't know what it is with their Facebook dating algorithm, it'll have the wrong date. Like, I went on a date with a guy, his thing said that he was 101. The guy was 38. He was 38, but for some reason, Facebook had it as 101, and he couldn't change it. I've seen that multiple times. Okay. So a little flag was starting to peep up, but it wasn't like bright red. Cause I'm like, okay, she ain't 29. But my spirit's going, Lord, please don't let this child be 18 or 19. Don't let her be younger than 21. Yeah. Cause in my mind I'm going, oh my God, cause she looks young. But not young like high school young, but young like how black women, we all look the same age, even though we can be 15 years apart. Because we just age well, right? Right. So we kind of look like we're around the same age. Mm-hmm. But we both have these, people tell me I have a baby face at times. So I'm like, we both look kind of, And I'm like, I said, well, how old are you?
Did you say it like that too? Did you stumble?
She said, well, I just turned 25. And I said, oh, Okay. It still was young because at the time I don't really really date people younger than 28.
Okay, I
so
see.
it's still young to me. And I was
Maybe
like,
because in my mind, I'm like, me being 28, it's like,
yeah, but
okay,
like, mind you, I'm like 35 at this
Right.
point, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And she said, is that gonna be a problem? And I was like, I said, just give me a second. I said, because
You had to process.
I said, because prior to us going on this date, we had been talking online and over the phone for like maybe a week. So for you got to take in mind a week and then an hour and a half of us on this date, you've been 29. So I gotta like mentally change and flip this. I said, no, I said, I said, just give me a second because you've been 29 in my head. Now I have to adjust to you being 25 and that you just turned 25. It ain't like you 25 about to turn 26.
Okay,
she
now.
had just turned 25 like a few
See, that's
weeks or a month
then.
before. And so I was like, I said, but you know, I'm enjoying myself. And clearly you are too. And I was like, and she was much more mature. Like she reminded me of myself at that age. Like she had her own job, her own car, paying her own bills. Like she was a little bit more mature.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's what also gave her more like, oh, she definitely was 29. So I was like, no, I continued to date or whatever. And the date went well, and we ended up seeing each other maybe 2 more times after that. She ended up coming to South Carolina for a weekend. She stayed at my house. It was a nice little time, but then the age differences did start to show, like where we were mentally. Because my level of maturity, like she still has some catching up to go. Because I remember I was here in Georgia. No, I was back home. I had just filmed something here and I went back to South Carolina and I called her one night. She went out to party with some friends or whatever, which was cool. And after the party, I said, well, I'll call you back when it's about done. And one of her friends came up to her while we were on the phone talking, and I could hear over the phone this girl was drunk. Like, she sounded pissy drunk. Like, she was slurred and everything. I said, is she riding with you? She's like, no. She said her girlfriend is coming to get her. And I was just like, can you make sure you keep eyes on her until she gets, like, her girlfriend? Yeah. Like, I don't want her to try to get in a car to drive. So she's okay. And then, like, maybe a minute later, her girlfriend showed up. And she said, oh, well, she's here. She's getting in the car. I said, are you sure? She's like, yeah. I said, and that's her girlfriend, you know, for a fact. She's like, yeah, that's her. So they drive off. And I said, are you good? You know, I said, because I'll stay on the phone with you, you know, if you need to sleep it off or whatever, or sit in your car. She said, no, I'm good. And she made this comment. She said, oh, I've been way worse than this, and I always make it home.
Excuse me?
And when she said that, that hit something in me on a maturity level.
I see.
That you think just because, like, you first of all, you're drinking and driving, and you think just because you've made it home every other time. Yeah. And that you've been way worse off than what you are right now, that makes it okay. That did something for me, and I was like, nah. And then at the time, remember, I had just gotten rear-ended the year before, right? And so I'm dealing at this point still with all the financial ramifications of that. And so I'm like, not only are you okay with drinking and driving, you don't even understand how much you can change somebody's life in an instant.
Yes, trust me.
And so
I've seen it.
So in my mind, I'm going, yeah, I don't think this is going to work for me, because if that's where you still thinking on those and you think that's okay, we're not in the same place mentally. And I didn't bring that up to her right then and there because I didn't want to get in an argument or to go left. I wanted to make sure she got home safely. Right. And she did. And I ended up having a conversation with her like a day or two later and just told her, like, yeah, I didn't think that was cool. And I just think, you know, we're not in a great place. We can continue to be friends, if that's what you want to do. I said, but I don't think like moving forward towards relationship or anything like that.
Nah, we good on that.
And then she was just like, yeah, she was like, I understand. She was like, you know, I'm not big on confrontation, so she's like, I kind of felt that energy that was coming from you. She said, I was just gonna bow and just like disappear. And I said, even her saying
that's just like,
that
showed
you can't have a conversation? That showed me that we weren't in the same place. Because I don't ghost people. I will tell you if I'm no longer feeling it. We need to go our separate ways. Now, if you don't respect me telling you that and you keep trying and I just quit picking up, that's on you. Yeah. But like just ghosting you without, you know, some kind of conversation, I don't do that.
I'm
so
glad.
The fact that she even thought about doing that, I'm like, yeah, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm
that's,
glad.
That's the youngest I ever, and
no.
that was on accident because I thought she was 29. When she
Yeah.
said,
Actually,
she said,
about that.
Oh, about that. What you mean about that? What you mean about that? Girl, you better not tell me you just graduated high school yesterday.
I'm actually 17.
I'm like, what the what?
Yeah,
Because, and it's hard. Like, it's hard, especially
hard
with
to
black
tell.
women.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us look the same age, and then sometimes if somebody puts on makeup, it makes them look older versus younger.
Yes, it does.
So it's like,
yes, ladies, y'all know what y'all be doing too.
I was just like, oh, I'm glad she ain't 18, 19. I'm glad she over 21, baby.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
I was like, ooh, y'all, I'm about to go to jail.
I smell jail time.
Even if she was illegal, I still feel like that's jail bait. For me at 35, anybody that was
you're not
even
wrong.
younger than 21,
I'm like that too, especially if you, like, let's say if you're 19, and again, I'll be 29 in 11 days. I still think, oh, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail. That's why I break it off like, nah, you gotta. The lowest I would go, let's see, I'm 28 and 3/4 now. The lowest I will go, 26.
Okay.
That's the lowest
I
I'll go. I might push it a little bit to 25, but no younger than that, because for me, you got to be emotionally and intellectually.
Do you mean you
physically.
might push it to 23?
What do you mean?
Because you said no younger. You said you may push it to 25, and you said no younger than that, but you said 24. So is 24 your lowest? Is what you're saying?
Oh, 25 is the lowest.
Okay, but you might
I'm
push it
sorry.
to 24.
Maybe it depends.
Okay,
it depends.
The way you said it,
I had to catch myself. I might have just said, put my foot in my mouth a little bit. But lowest is 25, maybe 24. It just depends on the person.
Gotcha.
No 23, 22, 21. No.
Yeah,
Jail time. Even though, yes, they're legal. No, I'm good. Because for me, I need maturity in my life. And the oldest.
Well, somebody tell me that sometime when like they were like, oh,
36.
18, 19 is legal. I'm like, slavery was legal one time.
Yeah, that's true.
And then crickets. I'm like, just because something legal don't mean it's right.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. I think
because God forbid I take you and have you running at your mom and your daddy with your thumb in your mouth like, oh, just in the corner rocking, just
he's shaking.
Baby, this is a grown woman over here. You ain't even experienced the fullness of what your body's capable of yet.
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend it.
Now I've met one girl. I won't say her name. She was 36. She acted like a 19-year-old because she ghosted me. So I was saying, I'm glad you didn't ghost that one girl, because I don't like when girls ghost me. But 36, but it can't be like in the 40s, 50s, because like if you seem, not saying my mom's age, but if you seem like you could be my mom age-wise, then no, right? Because my mom would have like, Lucas, what are you doing, right? But a little older, yeah, because now I'm pushing the 30 mark. So,
and I will say this, because I used to have the same thinking. Me and my dad are 20 years apart. So, and I get hit on a lot by men in their 50s and 60s. My dad is 57. And I used to be like, right at the end of 20s and up until like the very beginning of 30s, I used to be the same way. I'm like, I can't date you. If you my daddy age, I can't. Like, but then what had happened was there were men that started reaching out to me, although they were my daddy age. Baby, the way they was, I mean, bodies take care of, like they were shaped like my age range, and I was like, okay, I might have to extend my
extend my policy.
I might have to extend my policy and take some of these boundaries off.
Yeah.
And then I will say this: once I got into my mid-30s, and now I'm 2 years shy of 40, it feels more natural when men, even though they're my dad's age, and it feels more natural now with men in their 50s and 60s, especially they're taking care of themselves. And then also when your outlook on life has changed. Like if I'm at a place now where there used to be a point where I dated, I'm like, I ain't want to date nobody with no kids, right? Because I was still very much wanting to have kids, and I wanted it to be a first time shared experience. Also didn't want all the things that come along with you already having, children by somebody else.
Yeah.
But now where I'm at in my career and my life and how I love how my life is set up,
right,
I'm open to having kids with the right person. but it is not a necessity for me. So if a man comes, they already got kids, it's almost like, whew, that's a pressure gone. They already got their little legacy. I ain't got to worry about you. Like, well, I want to have a child before I die. Like, I ain't got to worry about you. Already got yours, baby. I can be the best stepmom you need me to be. Of course, I still look at things like, how is your co-parenting if the other parent is still in the picture? Like, how is that? Like, is it healthy? Is do the kids see you have healthy relationships? That's great. But so now that that's changed a little bit, I welcome older men. Especially the main thing is being able to take care of yourself. Yeah. Because you ain't gonna come into my life with this young, vibrant libido still out the roof. And you think you gonna come in here and because you like to sit and not do nothing and you don't take care of yourself and you can't keep up with certain activities I like to do, I can't see it for us, but
baby, my knees hurt. I need to sit down.
When I tell you though, these 50 and 60-year-olds, baby, the ones that been popping up.
Yeah, they
especially when I be in the gym. I'm like,
yeah, they have something crazy.
I met somebody at the gym the other week, and I just knew this man was 33. Yeah, and he told me he was 52. I said, see, I can do 52.
Yeah, I can do 52.
I can extend my borders.
Oh wow,
man, that's a word so right there. That's a word.
Yeah, I know.
I think we can eat that right there.
I mean,
so we only have the one topic about Shannon Sharp today on this episode, but a lot of jewels come out of that. And,
I know.
Stuff we have going on. Again, just super proud of you and everything you got going.
Thank you. Love you for sure. Evelyn
love me enough to bring me to Miami, too.
Yeah, hey, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap because this was a great conversation.
It definitely was.
But stay tuned because next week we got more topics coming out.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week with the latest in news for sure. What happened was.
Yeah.
I'm your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas.
And I'm your other host, Evelyn Letitia.
Hey.
And you have just listened to What Had Happened Was. Wow. Hey. Turn that up right there. What happened was. What happened was.
What had happened was.
Hey. Come on.
What had happened was.
Get down now. Ow.
They got you on camera on that one, finally. Because every time you do that, it goes to the high home or me. I'm like, no.
What had happened was.
Deuces.
Atlanta, live from K.L.P. Studios. Ever wonder what went down behind the scenes of our top stories?
Say what?
Then tune into What Had Happened Was, the only radio station that takes you straight to the source. From coast to coast, tune in now as we dive deep into the stories, the drama, and the moments that shape the culture with
The swanky one, new K.L.P.
and
with your girl, Evelyn Letitia.
Live, Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 radio stations, or wherever you get your podcasts from.